Championship on the line in the GT4 European Series. Last two races of the year. Three categories. You've got Pro-Am, Silver and Am to be resolved this weekend. Two races of an hour each, and race one is about to get underway here as the grid is starting to take shape. David Anderson trackside, and after the qualifying session this morning, it's the British driver Ewan Mackay who lines up on pole position. With him at the front of the grid, Marius Zug. So you've got BMWs locking out the front row, and also you've got significant elements on this grid as far as the championships are concerned. Now, as far as the AM competition is concerned, 19 points ahead, Clement Zeiler and Pascal Bachmann. As far as the Silver Cup is concerned, it's Jan Kishiel versus Simon Knapp and Alec Udell. First of all, though, let's go to the grid.
Nikolai, as you can see, standing behind me are all your fans. It's so incredible to be on this grid with all your fans. Go and give them a wave. Let's hear them shout. There they are. They absolutely love being here. But do you love being here? How does it feel standing on this grid?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, we did it last year as well. There we were, I think, 90. This year we're 116. So it's growing every year. I mean, it's amazing to bring all the people here to see what it actually is. So yeah, hopefully now we can give them a podium. I promised them some champagne. So yeah, now is the important job on the track. So
that's a very tall order to keep up. I hope you guys do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So reigning champion Nikolai Moller-Madsen. Just to finish off the championship situation, in Pro-Am, Marcus Pavarud, Lucky Trefts take on Marius Zug and Gabriele Piana. 25 points between them in the Pro-Am. In Silver, Jan Kishiel, Max Kobold ahead of Simon Knapp and Alec Udell. There are only 6 points between those two. And also, in fact, in the mix, you've got Dan Mackay and Benjamin Lessen, because they are a further 16 back, but with 50 on offer over the course of the weekend, they could also stay in the mix. So it's going to be an interesting race, this. We might have a title or two resolved, but ideally it's going to go down to the wire. So Ricardo van der Ende is going to be the second driver of the pole-sitting car. Ewan Mackay starts. Ricardo is with Dakota.
Ricardo starting at the Nürburgring on pole position. Yeah, you're happy about that. And it's finally not raining when GT4 comes out. How fantastic is that?
Yeah, I think the whole atmosphere here with all the fans or whatever, it's great. To have sunshine on the Nürburgring. I always bring my shorts, but a warm winter jacket as well, so you never know. We might get snow this afternoon, but to leave a pole position in the Acris M4, we're delighted. And not just today, but also tomorrow.
Turn one looks pretty tricky. Inside or outside?
I prefer to be inside on pole.
Let's see how it goes. Thank you very much.
It's been the car to beat today, that, because as you will have gathered, BRDC rising star Ewan Mackay has qualified on pole for this, and Ricardo van der Ende on pole for tomorrow's race. There, number 16, the KTM of Patrick Niederhauser and Reinhold Koffler. And it's Patrick Niederhauser who will go first. So the graphic at the moment is not accurate for all the cars, but it's the driver that did the qualifying time that will start. So Ewan Mackay goes first at number 8 BMW alongside Marius Zug. Second row, Romain Monti and Patrick Niederhauser. Now Gabriele Piana could be a class winner in the championship. Let's hear from him next.
Gabriel, it's very hot down here on the grid. Now Nürburgring is known to be a low friction track. Are you going to be managing your tyres today or looking to manage?
Yeah, well, we are fighting for the Pro-Am, so we are quite far in front of our competition, so we will not need to go for every millimeter. So, but you know, we still have to push. So I think we will take it somewhat reasonable and then see where we are.
But come on, it would be nice just to overtake them, wouldn't it?
It would be. But they looked very strong in qualifying, and realistically, I don't know if we have it, but we will try for sure.
Good luck, thanks.
Gabriele Piana along with Marius Zug going for Pro-Am honours. As I say, they're 25 points back. So the car they're trying to beat, Marcus Pavarud and Lucky Trefts, is a long, long way back on the grid. In fact, it's on the 7th row, Lucky Trefts' car. So we'll see. There is the very smart Cayman 718 of Ivan Yakumo, the Swiss driver. And as it's a 718 type Cayman, it's numbered 718. So a perambulation up the grid shows you've got Ewan Mackay on pole position. Ignore the drivers' names because many of them have got the transponder setting in the wrong place at the moment. Marius Zug lines up alongside on the second row. Romain Monti will start number 66, the Bullet Mercedes, and Patrick Niederhauser in the KTM. Cedric Freiberghaus goes first in the number 1 Audi, and it's going to be Akhil Rabindra alongside him. Dan Mackay starts number 14, the Equipe Vauxhall McLaren, with alongside them 718 Kevin Gilardoni. On the next row, there is Mads Siljehaug in the KTM. Max Kubolt goes first in the Lippert yellow Mercedes. Simon Knapp will start the first of the MDM Motorsport BMWs, number 25. The sister car alongside is of Koen Bogarts, there they both are. On the 6th row. On the 7th row, you've got Lucky Treft going first, the Pro-Am Championship leader in the number 2 Mercedes, and alongside is number 19 Alex Mees, Christopher Mees' brother, to go first there. 97 from the Scandinavian Championship is next on the grid. The Lestrup Racing Team BMW Alfred Nielsen starts, and then it's Konstantin Schurl's 718 Cayman alongside. Next on the grid is Tom Wood, number 61, and Jamie Vandenbalk in 007 is going to be alongside him. On the next row, treble 7 is Dominic Schrammels Mercedes, and 22 is Jan Kasperlik in the Allied Racing Porsche Cayman. Another of the 718 shaped cars, of course, that homologated GT4 type. Next on the grid is Jorge Cadevas in the Ginetta, and 99 is going to be started by Dominic Albert, the KTM of the Razzoon team. Next on the grid, 71 of Paolo Maloney, and 62 Matt Cowley, who's had a change of co-driver, Will Moore having to stand down, Finlay Hutchison replacing him for the second stint. Next on the grid comes 32, Jean-Luc Verhetz. 31 is Bob Herber, alongside, again, ignore the drivers' names because the transponder settings are wrong. Number 100 is next, that being the car of Laurent Jaspers, and it's Pascal Bachmann alongside, the leader of the AM competition. Next on the grid, Angelique Detavernier and Stephen Patrick's Bullet Mercedes for company, with on the back row of the grid Joachim Walder, and alongside is Eric Mouet in the Renault Alpine. That is how they line up then. Pit window between 20 and 30 minutes, and very shortly we will be getting underway. So there is Van der Ende, or the Van der Ende car I should say, with at the wheel of it Ewan Mackay. Came from Legends into British GT, Carrera Cup GB, and now into international racing. And interestingly, and we don't see it very often, he will do the same stint as his brother, Dan Mackay, double winner at Monza in the Versure McLaren, starting on the 4th row of the grid. So Dan has had the honour of doing the winning this year, but Ewan has had a pole position, and he would have taken great delight, I'm sure, in looking at the data and showing that to his brother. The pace car as it is leaves the line, sets off, ready to take the cars into this formation lap, ready to get the start of the penultimate round, the 11th race of the GT4 European Series underway. It's been another ultra-competitive season. We've had some great racing. Driving standards have improved as well over the course of the year. We had a few dramas in last season's championship, but we've fundamentally had some great racing this year, and the variety is still there for all to see. You've got Audi, Mercedes, Aston Martin, BMW, McLaren, Ginetta, KTM, Porsche, Alpine, and a real mix of cars as they trickle down towards the arena. Turns 1 all the way around to 4, loops you through there, you get the wrong line and you can be in real trouble forced out wide. As I say, Will Moore, just to go back to the Academy Motorsport team, has had to stand down. I'm sure I did see him yesterday in the paddock, but unable to race this weekend. So Finlay Hutchison drafted into the car, having been out in the GT3 Ronpac GT World Challenge race earlier on in the day, and he will start his race 2, from the rear of the grid, having not qualified the car. This is how the Silver Cup looks then. Kishiel Kurbolt versus Knapp and Udell, with Mackay and Lessen just within striking distance, depending on what happens in this race. As far as Ewan Mackay and Ricardo van der Ende are concerned, they're a bit too far back to challenge for the title. Could gain place though, and there's this battle, I suppose, to be the best place of the Mackay brothers yet to be resolved as well. The field weaving around, getting the warmth into the Pirelli tyres on which everybody runs within this championship, and heading down to turn 8 at the foot of the hill. Public road goes underneath the circuit at this point, and then the cars climb back up the hill through the Schumacher S. And is it going to be Ewan Mackay to hang on to the advantage? He and Ricardo van der Ende have had podiums this year, but not wins. Van der Ende first came to prominence with his brother Jackie in Formula Ford, but Ricardo has made a real name for himself winning in GT cars, whether it's been in the Dutch or the European GT4 series. Very, very experienced campaigner, and good character as well. So Van der Ende versus Marius Zug. Marius Zug second fastest, but in his first year of car racing, here he is pitching for the Pro-Am honours. Romain Monti starting third on the grid. Romain Monti, who was a winner at Misano with his young co-driver Alex Lamberts, who is in the Bullet Racing Mercedes. The cars now head up the hill, getting themselves in the 2x2 Noah's Ark formation then. And are we going to have titles resolved in this race, or is it going to go down to the wire? There, number 4 is the car that leads the Silver Cup points. Max Kobold sharing with Jan Kisiel. The lights flash on the safety car, the pace car as it is. Everybody now getting into formation. The race director wants them to hold station, of course, all the way through the chicane, all the way around that last corner at turn 17, and then up towards the release of the start of the race. 1 hour of racing, mandatory stops between the 20 and 30-minute mark. It's the regular format for a 1 hour SRO GT race. There's 66 going through. Romain Monti, GT racer, single-seater racer in years past as well, and into the last turn on the lap they will now come, then ready to blast away. Keep an eye on that little KTM as well, Patrick Niederhauser. I think that's going to be one to watch as well once we get the cars underway, because it's a nimble proposition, that. So here they come now, up towards the timing line. A bad start by Ewan Mackay, gets absolutely swamped. Good start also by Kevin Gilardoni in the gold Cayman, down towards turn 1. So Marius Zug leads, Romain Monti on the inside line. A really good start also by Dan Mackay. Then Ewan Mackay picks up pace. The officials might well have a look at that to see if certain people jumped it, but at turn 1 it is Romain Monti who leads the way. Do they all get through safely? Amazingly, yes. So it is Monti that leads. Back up in the second place is Ewan Mackay. May have been slow out of the blocks, but the grunt of the BMW carried him back up the order, going down towards turn 1. So the cars here come up through turn 3, about to burst out of the arena for the first time, and Ewan Mackay then down in second place, having to defend because he's got there the MDM car. That's going to be Simon Knapp, isn't it, up behind him? A great start by Knapp then, because he was on the 6th row of the grid. However, there it is Romain Monti that leads the way as the cars now drop downhill for the first time. One or two running wide up the curb, including the Ginetta G55 there in the hands of Jorge Cavazaz, but down through turn 8 they come for the first time. So up front, looking strong for the moment at least, is Romain Monti. Can the Bullet Racing Mercedes go for a second win of the season? This team, overseen by Dave Price, legendary team principal, leads the way, and Romain Monti trying to gap the opposition as they're all squabbling amongst themselves here. Out of the Schumacher S for the first time, and then the run up towards turns 11 and 12, the next S sequence. Through goes Cedric Freiberghaus in the red Audi, and a challenge there being made on the inside lower down. The Aston Martin's in a big hurry here to try and wriggle through. The Aston drivers and teams a little bit disquieted by the BOP afforded to them this weekend, as there you see Simon Knapp coming under attack from the McLaren in the hands of Dan Mackay up towards the chicane for the first time. Monti it is ahead of Ewan Mackay, there third and fourth. Simon Knapp, Dan Mackay fourth in the Versure McLaren. Knapp sideways and up the curb, really hustling on, but he's under attack. The aero-friendly McLaren, dwarfed by the BMW that looms over it, sort of towers above the British car. Over the line goes Romain Monti in the lead of the race. Then at the end of the opening lap, second through is Ewan Mackay. In third is Knapp, fourth is Dan Mackay, fifth is Zug. In sixth place, Freiberghaus. Seventh is Kevin Gilardoni. In eighth place, it is Niederhauser. Ninth, it is Max Kobold. And 10th, Akhil Rabindra. Race leaders through the arena then for the second time. And Romain Monti trying to escape now, but if anything, Ewan Mackay is going after him. He is bringing that gap down once again. The cars then now head down into turn 4, but as they do so, and then to turn 5, the gap between Monti and Mackay coming down for the race lead. Simon Knapp trying to bank as many points as he can. Alec Udell, his co-driver, new to all the circuits this year, but they've made a really good combination. They won both Paul Ricard races and had another win last time out at Zandvoort as well. So here, leaders accelerate down the hill, heading towards turn 8. Now, can Dan Mackay find a way up one further place? Let's see. Through they turn, and now, number 4, the Mercedes of Max Kobold, also trying to gain ground because that needs points, don't forget, within the Silver Cup. He's being outscored at the moment by Simon Knapp. There's only 6 between them, so it's advantage BMW at the moment there. The race leaders now come up towards the chicane, and there you can see the way that they've paired off a little bit as Dan Mackay gets up the inside of Simon Knapp. Is he going to be able to go through on the inside? He looks, he tries, but he can't quite do it. Through the right-hander now, at the end of the lap, up towards the timing line they will come, and through has gone Romain Monti ahead of Ewan Mackay by 0.3 of a second, becomes 0.6 of a second, even though the gap looked a little bit less midway around the lap. Mackay has dropped back, but he fights back under braking down at turn 1, has a really good look, late on the brakes. Is there a gap? There's almost a brush between them, and Ewan Mackay eventually had to stand on the anchors, and he's lost momentum, lost time as a consequence. Knapp is still third, Dan Mackay fourth, then it's Zug, Freiberghaus, Gilardoni is in 7th, in 8th place Niederhausen, 9th is Kobold, Aki Rabindra is in 10th spot here. Ewan Mackay crawling all over the back of the leading car, but Romain Monti looking good. There's a report that something is leaking out of the back of the number 8 BMW, interestingly. So is that going to make life slippery and difficult for those behind? Is that also why Ewan Mackay not able to take the fight here? So down through turn 8, there is the car supposedly dropping some fluid. Can we see anything? Nothing evident there as it climbs the hill, but the report has come from the MDM Motorsport team, whose car, of course, is there in third. It's behind in the queue. Race leaders then up through the turn 11-12 sequence. Dan Mackay there, look at the McLaren, still hustling on behind the BMW in the hands of Simon Knapp, and now they make the run down again towards the turn 13 right-hander. Blast through, speed building all the time at this point, and then up towards the chicane. Dan Mackay crawling all over the back of the MDM BMW. Can't yet find a way by. The lead gap is certainly extending. Romain Monti, bearing in mind he was under attack a lap ago, has really cleared off into the distance now. 1.3 seconds being the margin. And there, Dan Mackay having a look to try and find a way by. Now number 61 is being reported as being a smoky car. That is the Tom Wood, Mika Stanley, Aston Martin. So the race leaders turn through. Up the curb goes Simon Knapp, doing his level best to fend off this challenge behind. Dan Mackay doing the chasing. And there is number 8. No sign of anything there which would necessarily get Simon Knapp agitated. And a replay of the start. Now have a look, Ewan Mackay bogs down and others stream around. When the BMW did get up to pace, he was able to buy back the places. So look, he seems to have lost 3, 4, 5 of them. But then as the cars charge down towards the first corner, he gets back onto his toes, the power kicks in. And look, he gets back up the inside of his brother in the McLaren. Marius Zug on the outside line as well there. And Ewan Mackay consolidates that second place. So, battle on, and the lead gap extending still between Monti and second place Ewan Mackay. Simon Knapp still third. Try as he might, Dan Mackay cannot find a way by, can he, as the cars here sweep their way through the chicane. Ivan Jakama is next up in 7th place, keeping Niederhauser at bay. There he is in the Cayman. Ivan Jakama made a good start, but is he going to be able to hang on? Patrick Niederhauser, very rapid former single-seater start, tucked up behind. The leaders go through them. We have got 4 laps in the book, 1.4 seconds being the margin, and the fastest lap of the race now done by Romain Monti as he tries to pull away. There on his toes, having a go. Max Kobold on the grass and everything to try and get past Niederhauser. Can he slow the car down? No, he can't. Off he goes. Championship leader makes a right mess of turn 1. Gives away even more places. Max Kobold made a go on the inside line, got it onto the grass, off the road and back on again. That could have been a whole lot worse for him. Actually, he got away without any damage. He's still in the race, but that was a hugely committed moment that did not pay out at all. And Max Kobold then battles on, but he has fallen back into what's that going to be, 12th place. Completely commits, but of course there the road tapers, so he gets onto the grass. Only now can he really think about braking once he's got off the grass, and eventually runs out of road completely. Thankfully, though, didn't involve anybody else in that. So the red mist, I think, is lifted now for Max Kobold. He will regroup, have another go, and try and get the places back. He was 9th, he's going to be down in at least 12th now behind Alex Mies. There, Simon Canap, who if he knows about that, will be delighted because that's really helped him in the championship fight. Kobold, Kishiel then costing themselves points as a consequence of that. Niederhauser flashing the lights at Ivan Jakama as they head up the hill. And we're getting a driving standards flag for 007 for Jamie van den Balk for contact with another car. The number 7, Aston Martin, 14th at the moment, Jamie van den Balk. So there, out on his own, is Romain Monti. Through he turns in the Bullet racing car. Stephen Patrick's team, Stephen himself in this race, further down in 30th place, but the sister car that went through a number of drivers at the start of the year with accidents has had a race win already at Misano and could be on for another here. The way that it's going with Alex Lambert to do the 2nd stint in the Bullet Racing Mercedes AMG GT4 that leads Ewan Mackay across the line now by 1.497 seconds. The last lap of the race was the best lap of the race by Romain Monti. Down towards turn 1 goes the Mansiliha KTM. Lower down the order, more of the Porsches at play there, trying to fend off the BMW opposition. That's the Allied racing car, Konstantin Schürrle. Matt Cowley doing a good job, by the way, up into 17th place now from not doing quite so well in qualifying. He's got himself nicely up the order, and there's more to come, I suspect, as there is the leader through turns, Romain Monti, being chased by Ewan Mackay. Gap back now, 3rd Simon Canap, and Ivan Jakama has to get really defensive in the Cayman to keep Patrick Niederhauser at bay here, coming up towards turn 5. They swoop into the left, into the right here. Niederhauser in the nimble KTM, tries to go all the way around the outside. Is he going to be able to do it? It's going to be a brave effort if it works. He's up the curb, and Niederhauser does not make it work. No. Ivan Jakama manages to hang on to the place then, so the Porsche keeps the rather impudent KTM at bay. There's an incident involving 777 Dominic Schrammel that's being looked at, but as they come out of the turn 8 right-hander here, Jakama keeping Niederhauser behind him. Akhil Rabindra is next in the queue. Look, the ex-BLDC MSV F4 racer in the car he shares with the very rapid David Griesner. So Rabindra, who starred at Brands Hatch, he's not given up yet. He's buying into this battle, courtesy of the two delaying one another. The gold-wrapped Cayman then. Great-looking car, that. And Ivan Jakama at the wheel of it, trying to fend off Patrick Niederhauser. Up front then, the Mercedes, another great charismatic car, comes into the chicane, getting away, Romain Monti now from Ewan Mackay. There is the next to the BMW M4, Simon Canap fending off the challenge of Dan Mackay in the McLaren. The next BMW is Marius Zug, and Cedric Freiberghaus in the Audi lines himself up for a go on the inside at turn 17, and he goes through. Easily gets by on the inside line, picks up the place over the timing line now. So Cedric Freiberghaus goes through, and is he going to be able to shake off the challenge, the attention of Marius Zug? No, he's not, because again that BM has got so much grunt in a straight line. Marius Zug is back on the outside line, the Audi is better through the corners. Cedric Freiberghaus now secures the place, the ex-KTM Cup racer, former BMW racer, former Renault racer, Cedric Freiberghaus. So he goes back ahead of Marius Zug, and that gives him finally 5th place. Through turn 5 goes Ewan Mackay in the Equus BMW. The MDM BMW is behind, the M4 in the hands of Simon Knapp. And here, again, Niederhauser comes up to attack Ivan Jakoma on the outside. Akhil Rabindra tries to get in on the axe as well. Then you've got Mads Siljehaug and Alex Mees next in the queue. So this is all forging on for 7th place. Ivan Jakoma in the Porsche, just keeping the KTM and the Astons at bay. And, of course, Mads Siljehaug in the other KTM. Down towards turn 8, they're coming around the outside of Niederhauser. Goes Akhil Rabindra. Niederhauser breaks late, goes back ahead. Regains the place, through on the inside here. Up towards the sequence of turns at the Schumacher S. Niederhauser, you can see that he's defended the place, but also how he's lost out relative to Ivan Jakoma, who is now clear there in the Porsche just up the road ahead. Ewan Mackay, Mario Zug, the two drivers off the front row, both winners incidentally of the respective class pole position awards presented by Satina, as Jakoma now powers his way up towards the right-hander here at turn 13 once more. Up towards the chicane. There's Niederhauser through. Up the curb he runs. And looking further down the order, 24 goes through, Mads Siljehaug, rounding out the top 10. Leaders through. Lead gap still going up, 1.8 seconds. There in the background you see the Mercedes of Max Kobold. Out of the arena come the race leaders. Bit of debris lying in the road, you'll notice in the background. There through is 18 Aston, that's Akhil Rabindra, 9th on the back of Patrick Niederhauser here, who has lost ground against the Cayman, hasn't he, of Ivan Jakoma. And as the leaders go through, we've got Angelique de Tavernier's Mercedes in the pit lane, incidentally. That's got a drama. It's come in, and we are still about 14 minutes off the pit window opening. Big flash of the lights by Siljehaug in the blue and white KTM, this time to try and unsettle those ahead. Niederhauser back on the tail of the Cayman. So Ivan Jakoma, who's come out of the Porsche Sports Cup in Switzerland, or Swiss based here. He's not that it races in Switzerland, but it's based there, but by its permit. Comes through turn 8 now. And that Porsche slides its way up the hill, but now Niederhauser has the advantage. Has he got the grunt in a straight line? Stephen Patrick coming into the pit lane, incidentally, in the sister car of that of the leaders. Niederhauser on the back of Jakoma, who rides the curb, withstanding the pressure nicely. There, Akhil Rabindra goes through. And in the background, you'll see that also now Max Kobold coming into the mix as well. There he is. So this is the car that pre-race with Jan Kishiel led the Silver Cup points. And now Niederhauser makes his move, but hasn't got the grunt to get up alongside the Porsche. A run up towards the chicane here. And in fact, Patrick Niederhauser in the power part of the circuit. He's going to lose out, is he? Almost. Akhil Rabindra comes up to have a go. Almost contact between the two. Rabindra has to steer out of it, and that means that Siljehaug is all over the back of him, and so was Alex Mees in the next of the Pro Speed Performance Astons. Up through turn 17 they come, over the timing line. Niederhauser right back onto the tail of Ivan Jakoma now in the Porsche. They're going to be not quite side by side because the KTM is better in the corners than it is on straight line speed, so you can see the way the gap widens again. The Cayman builds the gap in a straight line. They break now, turn through the right-hander into the arena. Siljehaug is all over the back now of Mees, but he's lost the place as a consequence. So Alex Mees, Christopher Mees' brother, is ahead, and Siljehaug tries to go around the outside of the Pro Speed Aston. They're both being caught by Max Kobold, who needs to get a move on here and get back into the mix. He's giving away points. He's running at the moment 12th in the race, and that's 10th in class. Not good news. There, number 1 Audi is 5th, Cedric Freiberghaus, inching up onto the back of Dan Mackay, isn't he, in the McLaren. At the rear of the field is a rather breathless little Alpine, Eric Bouet, in the AM Cup, soldiering on, but as I say, it's quite a long way back, as there the battle for 4th and 5th places heads down the hill. So you've got Dan Mackay in the McLaren, keeping Cedric Freiberghaus at bay. More squabbles go on down into turn 8 as Siljehaug tries to get back up on the inside line there. against Alex Mees rather, and another flash of the lights behind Max Kerbold. So Astons and Mercedes all ganging up on the little KTM. Now that yellow Mercedes is another significant one, in as much as Marcus Pavrud, Luki Trefts share this car. It leads by 25 points in the Am Cup, sorry, in the Pro-Am Cup, forgive me. However, the opposition is the BMW of Mario Zug and Gabriele Piana. Well, that's currently leading the class. So a long way back is that car, giving away points, and about to give away another place is Ivan Yakumo, because Patrick Niederhauser has got ahead, and so also now Kamzaki Rabindra can't quite do it. Found himself on the wrong line into the chicane, so it doesn't quite go through. The point being just about that number 2 Mercedes. It's 4th in class and 16th overall. Needs to be ahead to win the championship in this race. It's being outscored by its class rival, not good news. Here comes Rabindra then, up alongside the Porsche as they come across the timing line once again. So Yakumo having lost out to Niederhauser, about to be mugged, I fear, by the 2 Pro Speed Astons that line up behind. To the outside line goes Rabindra. What can Mees do behind him? Then it's Siljehaug. Behind him there is Max Kerbold running in now 12th place overall through the arena once more. Down towards turn 3 they come, and you see that Niederhauser, having gone through, easily able to get away, helped of course by Ivan Yakumo having to go defensive here. Down they turn, heading towards turn 5. The race leader is still Romain Monti with a gap of 1.9 seconds over Ewan Mackay. Simon Knapp still in 3rd spot. Now 24, Mads Siljehaug back onto the tail of Alex Mees as they drop down the hill. Is he going to be able to make a move? If he can, it's going to be under braking, because you'll see here where the power kicks in, he loses 1-2 lengths, and also Max Kerbold gets closer to him as well. So Mads Siljehaug, same with Patrick Niederhauser, great through the corners, but what he's not great at is being able to stay with the more powerful cars in a straight line, and Kerbold comes up to have a go on the outside line into the Schumacher S. Can't find a way through there either, but wait for the next twiddly bit, and the KTM is going to be back up with the grunt and go Astons, I would have thought. Right now, Rabindra is stuck behind Ivan Yakumo, so that is for 8th and 9th places. Siljehaug there down in 11th, and we're only now, what, 4 minutes or so away from the pit window opening. There is Patrick Niederhauser, who is up into 7th spot. Next target, the class leading, Pro-Am leading, Marius Zug, absolutely together. Yakumo and Rabindra, the Porsche and the Aston Martin together as they make the run towards the chicane, but Ivan Yakumo just hangs on to the place. Those Aston Martins running out of ideas as how to get past the Cayman. And equally, there might be a fight between the 2 of them here. Alex Mees might be thinking, well, if you can't get past, let me have a go. But Akhil Rabindra right there, giving chase. Mads Siljehaug look good through the chicane, good off turn 17, gets up with them as well as they come now over the timing line, down towards the arena once more. Ivan Yakumo hanging on to the position. Fastest lap of the race, by the way, to the leader, Romain Monti, who is 1.8 seconds clear of Ewan Mackay. Siljehaug comes up to have another go at Alex Mees. Max Kerbold trying to gain ground out of all of this, but also mindful that he doesn't want to get into trouble. Siljehaug up the inside through the arena. No, can't get up alongside Alex Mees there. Has to back out of it, slot back in behind. Out of turn 4 they come once again. There is Patrick Niederhauser, who's got away, and there is Matt Cowley, I'm afraid to say, the Academy Motorsport Aston in the pit road, and Matt Nicol-Jones' squad having another, sadly, difficult day. The speed is there, the results are not, and Matt Cowley, who'd been going well early on in the race, comes into the pit lane, and if he does go back out, it's going to become a test session, really. So the race leader currently on lap 11, 1.8 seconds is the margin over Ewan Mackay. Simon Knapp 3rd, banking points here. Dan Mackay 4th, Freiberghaus 5th, 6th Marius Zug, and there number 4 Mercedes going through, still 12th. That's the leading car. Romain Monti doing a really impressive job here. He's built the lead, he's managed to preserve that advantage, and all of this, of course, coming from the 2nd row of the grid. The Bullet Racing Mercedes now then, up towards turn 17. Through that right-hander, back on the power, rumbles up towards the timing line. Through goes Romain Monti, Ewan Mackay in second spot. The margin between the two was 1.8. To the eye, it looks less. The timing screen claims that it is 1.9. Eyes deceive yet again. 36 minutes to go. Pit window imminent to open, and in many cases it's the the lower graded or the slower driver that goes first, so you can anticipate quite a rush into the pit lane when that pit window opens, and it will do so on this lap because the flying lap is just over 2 minutes. So for the leaders, the window will be open when they get back to the timing line at the end of this lap. Through goes Ewan Mackay. So perhaps overshadowed at the start of the season by brother Dan and his 2 wins, but going nicely here, running in second spot. Simon Knapp third. Now remember, he's fighting for Silver Cup Championship honours. Fourth is the Audi of Cedric Freiberghaus. He's therefore got himself up past Dan Mackay, so that's a change out of sight. Sixth there is the Pro-Am leading BMW. That's Marius Zug. So Zug under attack from Niederhauser. Niederhauser, once he's been released from behind Ivan Yakimo, has really got on with the job here. But there's the Pro-Am leading BMW. So a good result in the race would be very useful indeed for the championship. If number 2 Mercedes gets ahead of that car, it's game over in the championship with a race to go. If the BMW stays ahead, it's just about got an opportunity to try to fight back because it will have reduced that 25-point margin. It's going to be a big ask into race 2, but it's still alive. 1-1-1 BMW then now at the hill as Cedric Freiberghaus, having got himself up past Dan Mackay, sets off in pursuit next of Simon Knapp. But as I say, with the pit window now open, we are going to have a number of cars, I would have thought, pitting at the end of this lap, shuffling the order even further. Up to the chicane, Patrick Niederhauser, Brands Hatch winner, absolutely flying. So from his point of view, frustrating he was stuck in the traffic for so long. There is Ewan Mackay down the pit lane. Savvy move to give Ricardo van der Ende as much track time as possible. Down the pit road then comes the BMW. And across the timing line, Simon Knapp goes second. Cedric Freiberghaus goes third. Fourth is Patrick Niederhauser, because not only is Ewan Mackay in, but brother Dan is as well. And Marius Zug. So you're going to get van der Ende, Benjamin Lessen and Gabriele Piana all into the race early, as it were. They're all quick drivers. The 2 Pro Speed cars are in as well. So you're going to have David Griesner and Mike David Ortman taking them over. There is Marius Zug arriving in the BMW. That is Dan Mackay. Door opens and Benjamin Lessen languidly walks around the side of the McLaren. 66 Romain Monti, however, still leads the way as the car sets off down the hill once more, and the stops cycle through. Ewan Mackay helps strap in Ricardo van der Ende. Work done, walks away. The Ekeris team, staunch BMW preparers, and there Dan Mackay out of the car, and perhaps not happy because there's no driver in. There's a discussion going on and concern around the front left corner. Let's keep an eye to that, because the Equipe Vasseur squad might have a problem. Let's see, change of seat for Benjamin Lessen. And he gets, Dan Mackay straps him in. But was there a drama around the front left? We've seen that car lost a place, didn't actually see the move, but it had lost out to Cedric Freiberghaus in the Audi. So the Equipe Vasseur team ready to release that car on instruction. Romain Monti leads the way then. Ricardo van der Ende takes over number 8 BMW. Can he go quicker than the second driver when he gets into 66, Alex Lamberts? Let's see. Romain Monti stays out for another lap. Up to the timing line comes that great sounding Mercedes. Alex Lamberts has been a class winner in the Nürburgring 24 Hours. He will take that car over, so there's experience in it. And into the traffic now will be Romain Monti. Now there is the car that he was battling against early on. Now it's got Ricardo van der Ende at the wheel. There are more stops cycling through, incidentally. Cedric Freiberghaus in the Audi, the red Audi number 1 is in the pit road. And Benjamin Lessen, having taken over number 14, another one that drops back. There is Gabriele Piana. that BMW has moved ahead of the McLaren on the pit stops as well, hasn't it? So Piana goes through. Now that could be because the Versure team had a problem. It could be because the BMW team was slightly precipitative with its pit stop time. So the officials will have a look, and if the stops aren't to the regulation time, there'll be an alarm, and the race director will refer it up to the stewards. Nikolai Molomadze, to the delight of his fan club, gets aboard number 1, the Phoenix run car, Ernst Moser's team, based a stone's throw from the circuit here. Regular winners, of course, of DTM and GT races at the Nürburgring. 66, Romain Monti leading by 9.4 seconds from Simon Knapp as we approach half distance here. And it's been a really easy stint, seemingly, for Monti. Once he hit the front, he's been able to get away. That car makes the climb now up to turns 11 and 12, and Romain Monti, is he going to stay out to the very end of the window, or is it going to be a pretty much half the race each situation between him and Lamberts? We'll see. In the background going through is the Cayman, one of the 2 Allied racing cars. Sadly, the pit lane has claimed a few, so we've lost Matt Cowley, we've lost Stephen Patrick as well in the other Bullet Mercedes. We've lost the Mercedes of Angelique Detavernier too. That was an early casualty. Right, leader in. So down the pit lane dives Romain Monti. This to hand over to Alex Lamberts. And the other question is, where does that car blend back in relative to Ricardo van der Ende, who's already up to speed, if you like. There he is. He knows what the car is doing, he knows what the track is like. So there, van der Ende accelerates down towards turn 5. Number 31 is under investigation for speeding in the pit lane. That's the Bob Herber Alessandro Giovanelli car. Driver changes out, gets Romain Monti, and he walks away. In gets Alex Lamberts, and is that car going to rejoin before this car comes over the timing line? So there also in has come Simon Knapp to give way to the very impressive Alec Udell, and Lucky Trefts in as well to give way to the more experienced Marcus Pavarud in the Pro-Am Championship leading Mercedes. So that's going to be interesting now to see how that car, number 2 Mercedes, fares relative to the 111 BMW. Talking BMs, we've got number 8, the Acris run car here, Ricardo van der Ende hustling on. Monti has still got another 30 seconds or so of his stop to serve. So there the car is, the Bullet mechanics look at the stopwatches. Simon Knapp has done, Alec Udell ready to go. Here comes van der Ende then into the chicane. What can he do relative to the race leader? He leaps over the curb. Away goes Alex Lamberts down the pit road. So driver change done at the Bullet Mercedes camp. 66 ready to rejoin. Here comes van der Ende. He's not going to get the race lead on the pit stops, but can he take the fight to the Mercedes? Because the Mercedes only now can accelerate out of the pit lane. It's going to be close between the 2 of them. Lamberts can't afford to cut that white pit lane line either. He doesn't. He breaks for the corner, but the 2 leaders are virtually as one, and van der Ende even thinks about the inside line there. Together they make the run now into turn 2. And Ricardo van der Ende, given his experience, given the fact that this is a car that's on pole position for both races, I would have thought he'd be able to find a way through now and get himself into the lead of the race with 28 minutes to go. But he needs to strike now before Lamberts gets into a rhythm. Towards turn 5 they come. Van der Ende shows his nose on the inside, trying to unsettle the Mercedes. What about the approach now to turn 6? Does he make a move there? No, he does not. The Mercedes hangs onto the place. And they drop downhill once again here. So van der Ende, who's a lap further into his stint, comes down through turn 8. Alex Lamberts perhaps a little bit deep into the corner there, but he's maintaining the position and, if anything, extending the gap coming out of the corner. So van der Ende is going to have to use all of his years of racecraft here to try and find a way past that Mercedes, and he gets way up the curb on the inside, mows the lawn as well as he trims the grass there, powering his way up towards turns 11 and 12, and he's back onto the tail of that Mercedes, trying to force a mistake out of Lamberts, but Alex Lamberts seemingly is not going to crack, not yet anyway. So Ricardo van der Ende, there's not much he's not won in GT4 cars over the years, comes down the hill, heading towards turn 13, then the run towards the chicane, and but Patrick Niederhauser, yet to stop to give way to Reinhard Koffler, is the on-the-road leader, but this is the real lead situation. Lamberts versus Van der Ende. The BM looks the quicker, but it's driven more spectacularly anyway. Up the curb everywhere, Van der Ende darting around in the mirrors of Alex Lamberts, trying to force a mistake out of him, but Lamberts holds his ground, comes out of turn 17 now up towards the line. Let's see which is quicker in the straight line, the Mercedes or the BMW. Both big grunty cars. Past the pits they come. Down to turn 1 into the arena. Van der Ende on the outside line. Is he going to go all the way around the outside? Will he get the switch back? Let's see. Brakes, ducks up the inside. Can he get the drive out of the corner? No. Alex Lamberts hangs on to the advantage, but only just. The Laurent Jaspers Guillaume Mondron Audi, incidentally, is under investigation for being too short on its pit stop. There, out of the left of turn 3 come the race leaders. The margin over the line between these two cars was effectively nothing at all. So close were they. It was just 4/10 between them. And Van der Ende again crawling all over the back of the Mercedes. The BMW, again, you might just argue, is slightly better through the corners. Van der Ende losing out slightly to the bigger engine Mercedes in a straight line. Downhill they drop now. So as the cars come into turn 8, again, Lamberts is wide. He did that a lap ago, but he's even wider this time. And the danger is that compromises the run up the hill. Van der Ende not close enough to really capitalise on that. But what's significant is that corner, 2 laps in a row, tiny little error coming out of the leading car that rides the curbs once again. There, Patrick Niederhauser to give way to Reinhard Koffler with that very distinctive bodywork of the KTM. The whole roof line windscreen opens forward, that one piece of bodywork. And there are the race leaders then for the 17th time heading down the hill. 66, the leading car then, in the hands still of Alex Lamberts, having to go defensive here because Ricardo Van der Ende yet again, as he leaps over the curb, filling the mirrors, trying to distract the leader, hustling him around the circuit. Down they come now into the right at turn 17. Over the timing line once more. So this now becomes the real lead battle. And now we can start to see what the gaps are. Half a second between them. Reinhard Koffler is away. And there Lamberts goes defensive into turn 1. Van der Ende levelled with him here a lap ago. Is he going to be able to find a way through this time? Doesn't seem to have quite the drive out of the corner. So Lamberts hangs on to it. Van der Ende with 24 minutes to go, trying at different places, seeing what the reaction is of the Mercedes, looking at where it's strong, where it might be weak, where he might be able to force a mistake out of him, how much curb he's using. Well, Van der Ende is using a lot of curb, that's for sure. A drive-through penalty is being given to number 31 of Alessandro Giovanelli for speeding in the pit lane. That car is in 24th place anyway, so it's not really at the races. They're coming into turn 6 now. Alex Lamberts hangs on to the advantage. 0.584 of a second coming on to this lap. Downhill, Mercedes versus BMW, 2 pucker German brands, both with very successful pedigrees at the Nürburgring. And there the gap opens up again, coming out of turn 8. You see the way that the power of the Mercedes carries it forward. Here, though, the bravery of Van der Ende through the Schumacher S, skimming the gravel even this time, risking the Pirellis. That brings him a little bit closer, but seemingly now Lamberts on this lap has got the measure of the BMW, because Van der Ende not able to bring the gap down enough. Just looking at that BMW, is it dropping away? It is. Has it got a problem? Or is this Lamberts being able just to drive smoother now and get into a rhythm? But Van der Ende not now looking as competitive as he was a lap or 2 ago up towards the chicane. We'll see what the sectors reveal as they come through in the second sector of this lap. Yeah, Van der Ende has lost 0.6 of a second. And it's not Lambert speeding up particularly. They're not suddenly personal best sectors. So has the Equus BMW got some sort of an issue? Let's see. Over the timing line, Lamberts leads then. Mercedes goes through. And that lap was a 2 minute 7.4, a 2 minute 7.9 from Ricardo Van der Ende. He's in second spot, but the gap, which was half a second, is now 11.10. So he is dropping back significantly. BM up the curb. We're about to get to the end of the first sector, so we'll see whether Van der Ende is still losing time here or whether he's being able to come back at the Mercedes. To the eye, the gap looks a little bit less this time as they come out of the arena down towards turn 5. So maybe it was just a slight aberration on Van der Ende's part. We'll see as the cars now turn out of the right at turn 6 to the sector beam. They will come now, and it should be about a minute that they do that in. Sector 1 is completed by Lamberts, and Van der Ende goes quicker by 4/10. So he's back on his toes and he's bringing the gap down once again. Cars turn downhill then through turn 8. They climb through the Schumacher S now. And is that gap continuing to come down between Lamberts and Van der Ende? Again, you'd say to the eye, yes it is. 21 minutes still to go. Number 100 is getting a pit stop penalty as well. Laurent Jaspers, Guillaume Mondron, a 2-second stop-go penalty for being short on the mandatory stop. So that car has come in to serve it. And there is now Kevin Gilardoni, having taken over from Ivan Yakumo, ahead of number 2 of Marcus Pavarud. Pavarud is 14th, 4th in class, still giving away points to Gabriele Piana. Kevin Gilardoni, very quick kart racer, circuit racer, and rally driver of repute as well, gold graded. Gold livery, stays ahead of Pavarud, the Norwegian driver. And as the leaders come across the line, it is a gap of 11/10 down to 8/10 of a second. Their third is Alec Udell. 4th in the red Audi is the reigning champion Nikolai Müller-Madsen. In 5th place is Reinhard Koffler in the KTM. And then 6th, Gabriele Piana, just creeping into the shot in the BMW. And Piana leading Pro-Am. So you've got Silver Cup cars in the top 5. Pro-Am leader is 6th at the moment. And wide goes Müller-Madsen, almost swatted aside by Niederhauser, who is coming through, gains the place. Nikolai Müller-Madsen loses out, and Reinhard Koffler, now Patrick Niederhauser, having taken over, goes through into what is 4th position. So Reinhard Koffler takes the place. The KTM up past the Audi, so Müller-Madsen wide at turn 1, loses out, and Reinhard Koffler goes through, picks up the place. Nikolai Müller-Madsen doesn't often make errors, but that was one, I'm afraid, deep into turn 1, and that just opened up the door for Koffler in the KTM to pounce and go through. Behind Piana, you've got Benjamin Lassen, 7th. That McLaren dropping away in the second stint. Still not convinced all is well. 8th, Mike David Ortman's Aston. 9th, Max Kobold, being massively outscored here by Alec Udell for the Silver Cup Championship. And 10th, David Griesner, another very rapid driver. David having raced in the Opel Astra Cup, in the BMW 235 series as well, and going strongly. So Griesner in 10th place behind Jan Kissel. There, downhill comes Kevin Gilardoni in 13th. Marcus Pavarud is behind him, and he in turn is being reeled in by Oliver Söderström. Up the inside goes the Mercedes, levels with the Porsche. Pavarud's got his nose in front, through he will go. So the Pro-Am car ahead, and that significantly is for 3rd in Pro-Am. Pavarud goes ahead of Gilardoni, which means he scores extra points for that pass within the class, and that's good news as far as the championship aspirations going into tomorrow are concerned. 97 BMW of Oliver Söderström right on the back, and up the inside of Gilardoni he goes through. The Porsche loses 2 places in quick succession, might lose a 3rd here as well, because you've now got the Dominic Schrammel, Jan Reinig car up the inside. Schrammel's going to go through. Schrammel gets past the pair of them, gets past the Porsche, gets past the BMW as well. So Dominic Schrammel does a really good job there of getting himself up through the traffic. 2 places gained, but Kevin Gilardoni, does he have a problem? All of a sudden drops way, way back. Incident between Nikolai Müller-Madsen and Reinhard Koffler is under investigation. I thought it was just Müller-Madsen having gone wide, but anyway, the Audi and the KTM are being looked at by the officials. And we've got 17 minutes of the race still to go. Alex Lamberts is now a 2nd ahead of Ricardo van der Ende once more. So he was able to defend, and now that gap has stabilised. There is the contentious KTM of Koffler ahead of Nikolai Müller-Madsen. Down the hill they head towards the turn 8 right-hander. Third is here, Alec Udell, the American. Youngest ever driver into the Pirelli World Challenge as a 15-year-old coming to Europe this year and doing a really good job learning about new circuits, and 3 times a winner. But that car coming under attack from the flying Koffler. The KTM, once it gets through traffic, is really good in clear air, isn't it? We saw it with Niederhauser in stint 1. We're seeing it here with Koffler. Nikolai Moller-Madsen is there in 5th place, and then dropping back 6th, Gabriele Piana. So the leading car currently is on lap 20, Alex Lamberts. Here is Reinhard Koffler on the back of Alec Udell. Now, Udell can't really afford to lose places because that's not great news against Kisiel and Kobold within the championship. So he needs to try to defend if he can. He'd ideally like Moller-Madsen to come back at the KTM. The red Audi inching back up onto the tail there of the KTM as they flick through the chicane. Into turn 17 they come now, through the right-hander. And then over the timing line goes Alec Udell. The gap between him and Koffler, 8 tenths. Moller-Madsen comes next, and then Gabriele Piana a little bit further adrift as they break the beam. No further action, incidentally, between the Moller-Madsen-Koffler teams for the incident here a lap or so ago, and Alec Udell is under attack now. Reinhard Koffler is getting closer, closer, closer all the time. So through they turn once again, dive down towards turn 3, and Koffler makes his move, dives up the inside, easy peasy that, and in fact Moller-Madsen's going to have a go as well. Alec Udell gave plenty of room to the KTM, deliberately or unwittingly, so much so that Nikolai Moller-Madsen challenges, but then the power of the BMW kicks in and he almost overlaps the KTM again going into turn 5. Where does Moller-Madsen challenge? Here, up the inside, up the curve, is there going to be contact? Alec Udell does not need a fight and risk not finishing and risk points, but equally he can't give away places. Down the hill they come now, down towards turn 8. The black BMW staying ahead as they break into the corner. Moller-Madsen dives up the inside, and Alec Udell gave him racing room as well. So on the one hand, advisable, keep out of trouble, don't get yourself into strife. On the other hand, don't keep giving away places because you're giving away points. So it's a balancing act here for the BMW driver. But Koffler and Moller-Madsen have been looking quicker, they've now gone through. Up front, it's still Lamberts ahead of Ricardo van der Ende. 11 tenths of a second is the gap. And we have got 14 minutes still to run here. Up towards the chicane will approach Reinhard Koffler then, up into 3rd place. There is the leading car. Bittersweet race for Bullitt with patron Stephen Patrick's car, a very early retirement, but Alex Lamberts and Romain Monti's car still leading the way. Over the timing line it comes. Ricardo van der Ende 11 tenths back, but he's not really been able to make a proper bid for honours here, surprisingly. There, number 8, Ricardo van der Ende. Then the Ecris BMW team, which last year had pace but not reliability with the cars, and sawing away at the wheel is Alex Lamberts. He threads his way up towards turn 4 now. So despite the pressure from behind, despite the fact that he's had to come straight into the stint and defend from one of the quickest drivers out there, Lamberts has driven well in this stint. He's responded to everything that's been thrown at him and hangs on to the advantage then as he comes now down through turn 6. The Mercedes looking strong, intriguing, which of course is against what we saw in qualifying, where van der Ende's car was able to go fastest for both of the races, taking 2 pole positions. There is Alex Lamberts then, down he turns. Out of turn 8, makes the climb up the hill, and that's always a part of the circuit at which that car is stronger anyway than Ricardo van der Ende. So Alex Lamberts, who's been a regular in the VLN, he's raced in the BMW 235 Challenge, came out of karting, started car racing only in 2014. There is Ricardo van der Ende, old stager in comparison, chasing along behind him. The race leaders on lap 22 make the run up the hill. there for third place is Reinhard Koffler. Now he's 12.5 seconds back from the leaders, and behind him is Nikolai Moller-Madsen. Alec Udal, having lost those 2 places, has lost quite a chunk of time as well, hasn't he? They're 6th. You've got Gabriele Piana, the McLaren 7th of Benjamin Lessen. 8th place, Mike David Ortmans, Aston Martin. 9th, Jan Kishiel's Mercedes. 10th, David Griesner's Aston Martin. What's going on in the AM Cup at the moment is that Johan van der Rum is ahead of Clement Zeiler. Now, just need to keep an eye to that as well. You're looking at Gabriele Piana, who is the race leader within Pro-Am in the AMs. Clement Zeiler is 2nd, which means 18 points, and David Loge is 4th. And there were 19 points between. Just wondering if that's enough to have given Clement Zeiler and Pascal Bachmann the championship. To the inside line there dives Jan Kisiel. He goes through to preserve the place against David Griesner, but David Griesner is all over the back of him now. David, experienced driver from the Opel Astra Cup for the BMW 235 series, and looks for a way by as they come into turn 3, but the Mercedes just has the advantage for the moment. Down they come into turn 5. This is how 3rd, 4th, 5th change. See, Alec Udal leaves the door wide open for Reinhard Koffler to go through, and that also gave the impetus to Nikolai Moller-Madsen, who was able to think about making a move as well. In a straight line, the BMW had the momentum, almost overlapped the KTM again, but then here, up the curb, squeezing up the inside, Nikolai Moller-Madsen, and as he came out of the corner, got the job done. Alec Udal elects to bank points rather than keep on fighting, or does he? Because there, the Audi has to slot back in behind, but the move eventually did come here at turn 8, and through Moller-Madsen secures the place finally. So there, Alex Lambert's up towards the end of lap 23. He's making this look very easy now. Van der Ende is no longer in the hunt. He's going to be good for 2nd because he's well clear of Reinhard Koffler, unless that car has a problem. Remember, number 8 BMW, we had fears reported early on in the race that it was leaking fluid. Well, we never saw anything, but maybe it does have a problem now because Van der Ende is not being able to stay with the leading car. His lap times are comparable, but he is being caught by the next 2 behind. Koffler and Moller-Madsen lapping just fractionally quicker over those last couple of laps. There is 24, which is now Elke Angermeyer at the wheel of the KTM, another graduate of the KTM crossbow battle. Over the timing line it goes, 24 down in 11th place. Next target, David Griesner. As there you can see Mike David Ortmann under attack from Jan Kisiel, who's fended off Griesner and now goes after the sister car at Pro Speed. The Pro Speed Aston's having a much happier time, whisper it, than the Matt Nicol-Jones Academy cars, because we've lost Mika Stanley, Tom Wood's car, as well as the Matt Cowley car now, tragically. There is number 4 of Jan Kisiel. And because that's gaining ground, and because Alec Udal is losing places, making the championship situation going into tomorrow's race very interesting indeed. 8 minutes and change on the clock as the cars come here down towards turn 5. So under braking, the gap down further. Mike David Ortmann, graduate of the German Formula 4 category, under increasing attack now from Jan Kisiel. Down they head towards turn 8. Over the timing line, the lead gap last time up to 2.2 seconds. So Ricardo van der Ende dropping away. Just wonder whether Koffler might be able to get anywhere near attacking him before the end of the race. Don't rule it out, I think, is the moral in this, because he is certainly having a go. And going absolutely flat out, he is bringing down that advantage there with a bit of trim hanging off the back. Jan Kisiel, 9th he runs overall, and that means that he is 8th in the Silver Cup, 8th for points therefore. There you see the bit of diffuser hanging off the back of Jan Kisiel's car as he now heads in towards the chicane. So still hunting down Mike David Ortmann there. 10th is David Griesner in the 2nd of the Pro Speed cars. Sorry, Pro Sport, I should say, not Pro Speed, Pro Sport performance. Up towards the timing line comes Mike David Ortmann now. Flash of the lights from David Griesner. Behind the lot of them, you've got Elke Angermeyer in the KTM. So the Pro Sport twins sandwiching the Mercedes, the Lippert run car. And a problem for the Porsche, is that a puncture? Looks like the left rear might have gone pop for the car of Nicholas Schürl, limping towards the pit lane. So he's at pit in, but a flat left rear, a danger of using too much curb, going particularly through the Schumacher S, that. So Nicholas Schürl, late race, is heading for the pit lane and a new tyre to get him back into the race. As the fight here for 8th, 9th, 10th continues. Mike David Ortmann then, the quicker at the moment of the two Pro Sport Performance Astons, diving down towards turn 5. Jan Kisiel hunting him down, but unable at the moment to make a move against him. Angermeyer next in the queue. And Nicholas Schürl, with that puncture, is into the pit lane, but losing place after place after place. So Lambert's the leader, now by 2.4 seconds. Van der Ende to Koffler is 11 seconds. It's not really coming down. It's being stabilised, really, that, by Ricardo van der Ende. They're going through is David Griesner once more. 10th he runs, and the Astons and the Mercedes here pretty evenly matched. It's difficult for Kisiel to make a move against the Aston ahead. It's difficult for the Aston behind to make a move against Kisiel. So Griesner 10th, Ortmann 8th. There's the number 32, 20th placed Mercedes, Johan van der Ende, who is the leading AM at the moment, ahead of Clement Seiler, and then third within the AM Cup is Onder Erdem with his KTM. So Johan van der Ende goes through for the Sellerslag team. Winner at Monza in both races, and again a winner at Misano. Johan van der Ende, Belcar regular, also racer in the BMW 235 series, 20th overall, as you see on the Lumirang, got the Ginetta behind of Luc Ibanez, and then Clement Seiler is in 22nd spot. Four more minutes of the race to go. And provisionally, I would offer you that Clement Seiler and Pascal Bachmann are on target to win the AM Cup in this race. With a weight confirmation is there. Ricardo van der Ende climbs the hill, 2.3 seconds back, going onto this lap behind Alex Lamberts. Can he have one last push? Well, interestingly, he's just taken 6/10ths out in the first sector. So, does van der Ende have a problem? Is he driving within himself? Is he looking after the machinery and then having occasional pushes? Or is Lamberts on a slow lap here? To the end of the middle sector they are about to come, but certainly 2.3 seconds at the start of the lap and 6/10ths shaved off that margin in sector 1 alone. Mercedes through, and now the climb into the chicane. So Alex Lamberts is going to get 2 more laps out of this race. Makes the run up towards turn 17. He brakes, he turns into the corner now, and van der Ende, having gained 6/10ths in sector 1, lost 7/10ths in sector 2. So what you gain, you lose. It seems there they are across the line, and 2.3 seconds going on to the penultimate lap becomes a margin of 2.6. So again, the Mercedes is the stronger. Now look at the background, the KTM coming off the last corner, goes past the pits, and through goes Reinhard Koffler. That gap is down from 11 seconds to 9.9. I don't think he's going to get there in 2 laps, but it'll be interesting to see how close he does get before the very end of the race. The next battle here is Kisiel attacking the Aston Martin down towards turn 1, and David Griesner ahead. Does he stay ahead this time? Let's see as they turn through. Sorry, wrong Aston. Mike David Ortmann keeping his place therefore. So 8th spot, Mike David Ortmann just ahead of Kisiel, but now that the Mercedes has shaken off the challenge of David Griesner behind, he's looking for a way through. Jan Kisiel fires now out of turn 4. And finally, the Mercedes looks like it's got the proper momentum, but look how defensive Mike David Ortmann goes, moves one side and then the other, keeps Jan Kisiel at bay. Into turn 5 they go. Kisiel for about half a gap on the inside there, then thought better of it. Graduates of the Audi TT Cup and also Lamborghini Super Trofeo. The Polish driver Jan Kisiel drops downhill, has a long look to the inside line, certainly serves notice of intent there, but not able to find a way by. Minute and a half on the clock and counting. Nicolas Schoell's Porsche, I'd mentioned, with its puncture, got to the pits and stayed there. A retirement from the race, that's going no further. And here, the fight is still on for 8th place overall as they come through the Schumacher S. Again, see how much curve they take. Now, uphill they head into the left and right flick of turns 11 and 12. The leader is on his last lap then now, Alex Lamberts. There he is, down towards turn 1 with a margin of 3.5 seconds over Ricardo van der Ende. That's game over, isn't it? That's the job done as far as the Bullet Mercedes is concerned. Interesting, third on the grid and easily able to really dominate the race. Romain Monti did the first stint, the Maserati Trofeo champion, French GT racer and Rockpan endurance racer. Here Alex Lamberts takes the car over, but the Equus BMW, much expected to show pace, not able to really do so. Still wonder whether something is not quite right there, given its slightly yo-yo race pace, but also the fact that, of course, it lost ground off the start. But anyway, we'll get to the bottom of it, I'm sure, before race 2 tomorrow. There's also the championship situations to factor in here. As you see, the number 66 Mercedes with half a lap to run, heading downhill here. So downhill goes 66, the race leading Mercedes, half a lap to run. Alex Lamberts then race winner at Misano. You've got to say that he and Romain Monti, who's done most of his racing of late in the French GT series, have made a very good combination of drivers and good pace. Lamberts admittedly did get involved in the Zandvoort race stopping accident, but that aside, he's certainly made up for it here as he comes up through turns 11 and 12, flicks the car through that sequence of corners, and the run downhill, heading once more on that long climb up towards the chicane. This time around, though, it'll be the last run up towards the chicane, and then to a second victory of the season. A job well done for the Bullet team. So Stephen Patrick's squad losing his car, but a race win is going to come for the sister car here. Into turn 17 then, number 66 Mercedes set for the race win. Romain Monti and Alex Lamberts win race 1 in the GT4 European Series here at the Nürburgring, second across the line. It is going to be the Equus BMW in the hands of Ricardo van der Ende and Ewan Mackay, and third will be Reinhard Koffler and Patrick Niederhauser, 7.9 seconds adrift at the end. They're set to win Pro-Am, Gabriele Piana and co-driver Marius Zug, and that is a 4th victory of the season for them. Big flash of the lights from Piana because that keeps the championship hopes alive. Still they pour over the line. Lassen 7th, who's going to be 8th. Mike David Ortmann just 9th place, should go the way of Jan Kisiel. It does ahead of David Griesner and then Elke Angermeyer in 11th in the KTM. There's the AM winning car. Jean-Luc Behetz and Johan van der Rum set for the class win. But let's see what that's going to do to the championship with Clement Zeiler second, with Pascal Bachmann and the opposition up to third, in fact. So David Loger, Eric Mouet have gained a place. I think that's now enough to keep it alive, isn't it? Going into the last race tomorrow. So the AM Cup will go down to the wire, so will Silver and Pro-Am. And the honours in Silver Cup, perhaps the pendulum switching now, shifting towards Alec Udell and Simon Canap. There's the flag then to Johan van der Rum and Jean-Luc Behetz as the AM Cup winners. For van der Ende and Ewan Mackay, that is, what, a 4th, second place of the year. Still no wins. could it happen in the last round? Checkered flag is still being waved as the sideways BMW there powers its way up towards the timing line. Joachim Söderström there for Bullet Racing. Romain Monti and Alex Lambert, the winners of race 1 here. Second victory of the season. Not a factor for the championship because they've not done every round, but had they done the full season, it does rather make one wonder what that car, what that combination could have done for Silver Cup honours. Romain Monti and Alex Lambert's then taking the race win here. Confirmation of the way the top 15 came across the line. Alex Lambert, Romain Monti take the win from Ricardo van der Ende and Ewan Mackay. Reinhard Koffler third, sharing with Patrick Niederhauser ahead of Cedric Freiberghaus and Nicolai Moller-Madsen. Fifth, Simon Knapp and Alec Udell from Marius Zug and Gabriele Piana, who win Pro-Am ahead of Dan Mackay, Benjamin Lessem. Eighth, like David Ortmann and Alexander Mies. Then it is Jan Kisiel and Max Kerbolt with David Griesner 10th, sharing with Akhil Ravendra. 21st is where you find the AM Cup winning car, the Sellerslag Racing Team Mercedes of Johan Van Rom and Jean-Luc Behet. Sellerslag, a team you might remember with its Corvettes in the days of FIA GT and the GT1 World Championship. And sadly, quite a few retirements out of all of that, with the cars certainly of Academy and Allied Racing in the war. So too we lost Stephen Patrick and Angelique de Tavernier and David Dermont very early as well. That Mercedes we lost with dramas. So drivers shortly will make their way up to the podium. The teams making their way out of the pit lane, ready to get themselves ready for tomorrow, because they have an early race tomorrow. Race 2 kicking off the Sunday programme. There's the winning car then from the Bullet Racing team. Romain Monti absolutely overjoyed. Noisy reception for Alex Lambert. Romain Monti then opens the door. Out clambers Alex Lambert. Great effort by both of them. And Alex Lambert, to withstand the pressure being thrown at him by Ricardo van der Ende, he should be well proud of that. Ewan Mackay and Ricardo van der Ende celebrate second place. BMW just a little bit breathless, seemingly, against the powerful Mercedes. Let's try and catch a word, if we can, from the winners, Alex Lambert and Romain Monti.
Guys, a massive congratulations. Alex, well done for holding on to that lead right at the end there. Were you feeling the pressure from the back?
Oh yeah, it was fucking hard at the beginning. Yeah, I mean the last laps were a bit easier, but yeah, I mean we won and that's what's counting. And
excuse Alex for the emotional language. It gets very, very, very intense down here, doesn't it? Roman, happy to be back on the podium again?
Yeah, especially after Zandvoort. It's good to be there. We were quite unlucky in Zandvoort, so after our win and the third place in Misano, it's really good to be there once again. And since the beginning of the weekend, the car felt quite okay. We knew that the BMW were quite fast, so it was quite difficult to hold them at the back, but in the end, I did it, he did it, the team did it, and we are there, so.
Well done. Same tomorrow, guys.
So, can they do the double? Well, on that pace, don't bet against it, because it was an excellent job done by both. And Romain Monti making a name for himself after initially coming to prominence in the Maserati Trofeo, but then in French GT racing. We have seen him in the Blockman Endurance Series as well, but there were so many drivers in that because it's such a busy grid, tend to get a bit overlooked. Right, there is Ricardo van der Ende, second place. Let's hear from him.
Ricardo, you may be slightly disappointed with this, or maybe happy, I'm not really too sure. We thought you were going to have him.
I know, me too, but let's be honest, if you can drive this beauty, you're always happy. Well, I must say, Lamorette and Monti, they drove really well, and that was just a little bit too big today, but we'll get them tomorrow. Watch us.
Watch this space. Thank you very much.
So, Ricardo van der Ende magnanimous in defeat. Ewan Mackay, his co-driver, doing a good job as well. Right, what does all this do? Well, we'll come to the championship in a moment. Race results again. First of all, just to confirm, Lambert's Monti ahead of van der Ende and Mackay, then Koffler and Niederhauser. Cedric Freiberghaus and Nicolai Moller-Madsen fourth. Now, Simon Knapp, Alec Udell fifth, relative to Kisiel and Kerbolt ninth overall, and that's eighth for points because Piana and Zug sixth are Pro-Am. It's still advantage then Nap Udell going into race 2, but it's a shame that that car lost its couple of places because it means their championship advantage is going to be slightly reduced over what it could have been. At one point it was looking very promising indeed, wasn't it, for them? So the drivers making their way towards the podium and the teams instantly doing their points computations to work out exactly what is required going into tomorrow's race. So lower down the order, Jamie van den Balk 17th, and confirmation also of those retirements too. So frustrating way for some of them to end today. Hopefully the cars can be made good for tomorrow's final 1 hour race, the last round of the GT4 European Series. Quick look at the highlights of the race that began with that slow start by Ewan Mackay, but then the BMW got its head of steam up, dived to the inside line as they went down towards turn 1, and the BM back up into second position. There was this big moment early in the first stint for Max Kobold, who went to the inside line, got himself on the grass, but there was no stopping Romain Monti, who built the lead. Ewan Mackay pitted early. He was one of the first in to give way to Ricardo van der Ende, whereas Monti stopped a lap or so later, and this was the situation when they were back on track, pit stops having cycled through absolutely together. Reinhard Koffler then started to really charge, had this little brush with the Nikolai Müller-Madsen KTM. They both got themselves up past the BMW of Alec Udell, and that pushed the BM from 3rd down to 5th. But number 1, it was pretty much race long. So the Bullet Racing Mercedes taking honours of Alex Lamberts and Romain Monti, victorious in the penultimate race in this year's GT4 European Series. Ricardo van der Ende and Ewan Mackay taking 2nd. Reinhard Koffler and Patrick Niederhauser coming home in 3rd. So this is what it does to the championship. It now means that they are equal on points, in fact, in the Silver Cup. So Nap and Udell up to 146, also 146 now. Kishil and Kobold. That is the perfect way to resolve a championship with the two drivers, or in this case combinations, equal on points. It is very much who dares wins, and it's going to be a great fight between them tomorrow, never mind what's going on in the race. Can't wait. We'll see what the other classes look like as well after today, because both the Pro-Am and Am competitions have given some great action over the course of the season, and a real mix of winners in this nice varied field. So they're the drivers in the cool-down room, ready to be called forward. Championship officials getting everybody in the right place, making sure they've got all the crews that they need for the multitudinous podium ceremonies and the Satina watch presentations, the pole position drivers as well. So it's not the work of a moment doing all of this. Drivers discussing battles that they've had, discussing what the race was like, and also 1 or 2 taking on some liquid as well. So do we have who we need for a Silver Cup podium? Nina Pfiffner, who is the series manager, arrives. And a plethora of drivers are there as well. Romain Monti out on. Marius Zug there, having had a really impressive first year in car racing, ex-Carter, and he listens to the words of wisdom of Ricardo van der Ende. So drivers now are being called forward. So there, Patrick Niederhauser, Reinhard Koffler come forward. Ricardo van der Ende and Ewan Mackay make their way out for second place overall, and of course in the Silver Cup. And race winners are Alex Lamberts and Romain Monti for the second time this year for Bullet Racing. So the presentation set to be made to Alex Lamberts and Romain Monti at the end of this first GT4 European Series race of the weekend. A winning margin in the end, 3.498, let's call it 3.5 seconds. Trophies then given to Reinhard Koffler and to Patrick Niederhauser. The trophies in the air for Ricardo van der Ende and Ewan Mackay, and then for Alex Lamberts and Romain Monti as the race winners. And for the Silver Cup drivers, the champagne about to be sprayed and the celebrations underway at the end of race 1 of the weekend in the GT4 European Series. So trophies in hand, they will shuffle off the podium. We will get set for the second podium, and this is how we now look in Pro-Am going into tomorrow's race. Pavarud and Trefts now on 192 as against the 174 of Marius Zug and Gabriele Piana. So the gap is down, but it's still a tall order for that to be overhauled with just one race to go, 25 points on offer. Also, again, you see how many different drivers we've had in the championship this year, not all here for the final weekend. So the next crews brought forward for Pro-Am, where Dominic Schrammel and Jan Reinig are the category third placed. Second, Marcus Pavarud and Lucky Trefts, and Gabriele Piana and Marius Zug take the class win. So the drivers respect the national anthem, caps back on, and now the Pirelli trophies brought forward. Pirelli enthusiastic supporters, of course, of GT racing, and there for second place, Marcus Pavarud, Lucky Trefts maintain the championship lead. Is it going to be a title tomorrow? Well, don't bet against it. They've still got the upper hand, even though that gap is reduced. Drivers now marshalled together for photographs. And there you can see the very happy class winners, Marius Zug and Gabriele Piana, who are now able to indulge themselves with the champagne. And after all that, there is still, of course, one further podium to come, and that is going to be for the AMS, where Johan Vannerum and Jean-Luc Betts, the winners, ahead of Clément Seiler and Pascal Bachmann, David Loger and Eric Mouet taking third spot, and it means that we've got now, what, that 22 points of an advantage, about 25 on offer. So one hand, you could say, on the title for Clement Seiler and Pascal Bachmann, but they're not quite there yet over Eric Mouet and David Loger's Alpine, which has been a category winner this year, and therefore third place are the Alpinists, as it were. David Loger and Eric Mouet. For second place, the impressive young Clement Seiler, who started his career on two wheels, but now very much a four-wheel drive expert, part of the Aston Martin Driver Academy, and Pascal Bachmann, another former non-racer, a rally driver to begin with, but they're the class winners. Johan van der Rum and Jean-Luc Behetz make their way up onto the top step of the podium. So there, the drivers receive the trophies, and this final weekend of the championship has delivered drama thus far, and the championship's not resolved going into tomorrow's decider. So there, Clement Seiler and Pascal Bachmann get the second place trophies. Eric Mouet, David Loger already with theirs, and the winners are there, Jean-Luc Behetz and Johan van der Rum at the end of, for them, a very impressive final class drive this weekend, and let's see how they fare tomorrow. The drivers all now being marshalled into place for the photographs, and once that is done, the champagne can be sprayed, but occasionally AMS might want to save that. We'll see what happens. There's saving and running from the Alpine drivers. There's spraying from the top two combinations. So there we have the drivers celebrating honours in the AM Cup. Well done to Jean-Luc Behetz and Johan van der Rum. After all that, there's another race to look forward to tomorrow. We'll see you then. For now, from David Addison, goodbye.